Good morning, folks, and happy Friday to you. I hope and pray that you're well today. Hope and pray you're looking forward to a wonderful day of worship on Sunday. Remember, Sunday worship begins with Sunday School 9:45 and our worship service at 11 o'clock. And we are continuing in our journey about victory. And what a wonderful victory that we have in the Lord. Because of the victory that was won for us on the cross of Calvary, we Christians share the victory that was won. And that's the reason why we worship. That's the reason why we praise God. That's the reason why we give of ourselves, our time, our treasure, and our talent. That is why we worship. So let me remind you once again to be with us as we worship on Sunday. And you'll get a blessing, I guarantee it. The issue is you need to show up. Step number 1, show up. Step number 2, receive the blessings that God has for you as we consider victory. So come and be with us, and definitely looking forward to that time of worship on Sunday. I want to read to you today something that we don't read a whole lot, but it's very, very powerful. And if you look at it, it's really a pretty stirring indictment. It's in the book of Amos, chapter number 5. Now, Amos is one of those minor prophets, we call them, not because their message is not important, but just simply because it's a short book. Amos, he falls in the minor prophets. When you get to the book of Daniel and you start going from there, you start getting into the minor prophets. And so Amos is the third minor prophet from the book of Daniel, to the right of the book of Daniel. But let me share with you what Amos tells us in chapter number 5 and verse 24, and then we'll talk a little bit about it here. Amos chapter 5 and verse number 24. But let justice run down like water, and righteousness like a mighty stream. If I might put a thumbtack in that right quick, isn't that an interesting analogy to use when God is talking about His justice flowing down like water? Here recently, we've had quite a bit of rain, and we've seen water as it runs down the road or over a waterfall or something like that, and how powerful that rush is. And in fact, when you think of dams and stuff, what do? They help they don't help, they do it. They generate power. I always thought that was rather ironic that the dams generate electricity, yet you can be electrocuted if you're wet and you touch a live wire. I always thought that was kind of ironic right there. But the point I'm trying to make is that rush of water is powerful. That rush of that water generates power. And God says here through the mouth of Amos, through the mouth and the pen of Amos, let justice run down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. Now, why would he say that? I'm glad you asked. I'm going to tell you why. Because in this particular portion of the book of Amos, God is expressing His displeasure with the hypocritical Israelites. I'm going to say that one more time. With the hypocritical Israelites. Let me back up and go to verse 21 and read from there. Amos is recording the words of God here. He says, I despise your feast days, and I do not savor your sacred assemblies. Though you offer me burnt offerings and your grain offerings, I will not accept them, nor will I regard your fat and peace offerings. Take away from me the noise of your songs, for I will not hear the melody of your stringed instruments. And then he comes to verse number 24. But let justice run down like water, and righteousness like a mighty stream. Have you ever thought of hypocrisy? I hope and pray that we're not guilty of it. I hope and pray that we're not worshiping on Sunday and living like the devil Monday through Saturday. Because God is not pleased with that. God does not want hypocrites. And He is giving a stirring indictment, as I just now said, to the children of Israel who were practicing hypocrisy. They were doing all of the acts of worship, but they weren't living their worship. Christian, may we always remember, live what we worship. If I may put it this way, let's practice what we preach. If we preach righteousness, let's be righteous. I was talking about we're preaching our series on victory. If we're going to preach about victory, then Christian, let's live victorious. Because anything else is hypocritical. And that is displeasing to God. And he says right here, let justice run down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. I can't speak for anybody else. But if I'm acting in a hypocritical manner, I wouldn't want to fathom what God's justice would be like. So let's always remember to live as we believe, because we want to savor the blessings of God. We don't want to endure the justice of God. Interesting thing to think about as we start this day and as we prepare for worship this weekend. I hope and pray that you have a wonderful day today, and remember to be with us as we worship on Sunday. Love you folks, and I'll talk to you a little bit later. God bless you.